we are eager to get right to what you are about. We can feel that you have a clear basis of understanding about how this all fits together to some extent. Do you know that you are the creator of your own reality? You are understanding that you are offering a vibration which is your point of attraction, and that point of attraction is being answered continuously by vibration and therefore responses to vibration? Are you understanding that you get what you think about, whether what you are thinking about is something that you want or something that you don't want? That there's a constant balance between you and you? Do you understand what we are talking about when we are talking about the you and the you? That's the most important part, because that understanding is central to everything that comes after that. When you get it, that you were source energy before you came into this physical body, and anything other than that is illogical, isn't it? Isn't it logical to you that you were consciousness even coming into this? But the part that most of our human friends are new to understanding is that that non-physical part of you remains as a non-physical source to you, a replenishing source, a source of clarity, a source of guidance. But you and your human personality, you must be somewhere in the vibrational vicinity of the energy of that source energy consciousness. Otherwise, you miss the clues. You don't feel the intuition. The inspiration is missed by you. And so many of our human friends have, instead of tuning to that high, pure frequency of source energy, which adores you and knows your value and understands your worthiness and flows those thoughts and feelings to you continuously, instead of tuning to that frequency, so often without meaning to, you turn to a more guarded frequency. You tune to the frequency that you've sort of picked up along your physical trail. That one where you know that there are things that could go wrong, and others have pointed out to you the things that are going wrong. And so you have been guided by many well-meaning others into worrying about things instead of being optimistic. And so without knowing it, often you have trained your awareness, or you have trained yourself into a receptive mode that is receiving of vibrations that are being projected from this physical realm. And there are many of them, because every thought is a projection of a vibration. And so, since there are rivers and streams of thought consciousness that are being projected or thought by others like you and by you, there is plenty that you could find yourself in the receiving mode of, even though it is not to your best advantage. And so a lot of what we are wanting to help you remember is that you are an extension of a source energy, and that while you've been living here in this physical body, that you've been doing exactly as you intended. You've been sifting through the contrast of this magnificent balance, time and place. And through that sifting, you have identified all along the way many things that you prefer and many things that you do not prefer. You've been identifying even more fully who you as a creative consciousness is. And with each of those very personal life experiences that you've been living, you have carved out a vibrational reality that most humans are not even aware of, because it's not something that you can see or hear or smell or taste or touch. It isn't something that you can translate through your physical senses, while many things are. This is a vibrational reality that has not yet come into the full fruition or manifestation that can be understood through your physical senses. And this vibrational reality is the precursor to all things that come later. In other words, this is the story of how thoughts turn to things. And while many of you understand that there must be such a story, most people do not understand how in control of the story that they are living, that they are in control of. You get to control how your thoughts turn to your things. You get to control how your thoughts turn to the absence of your things. You get to control all of it, but you've got to understand vibration. And you must understand the relationship between that broader, non-physical part of you and you. So in any moment, you could be in complete alignment with who you really are, or in complete misalignment with who you are, or somewhere in between. And your emotions let you know exactly where you stand in that relationship. So over time, as we've been visiting with you, we've explained a lot to you about how the laws of the universe work. We've acquainted you with the law of attraction, even wrote a book or 2 or 3 or 4 about it. And as we talk about the law of attraction, we want you to find the true meaningful impact of understanding it. Because law of attraction is always consistent. It never makes a mistake. And it is always fair. In other words, you always bring back to you exactly what you are projecting. Another way of saying that is, you always get back the way you feel. So it doesn't matter how it is that you've come to feel the way you've come to feel. Maybe something happened and you began to feel vulnerable. Maybe something happened and you began to feel like a victim. Maybe something happened and you felt injustice. Maybe something happened and you felt anger. And we are not for a moment suggesting that you are not perfectly right to feel any of those things about things that are not going the way you want them to go or about the way you think they should go. But as you spend your time through your life focusing upon things, the thing that most of our human friends do not understand is that as you give your attention to things, you unwittingly practice the vibrational frequency of those things you give your attention to. Now, fortunately, many more things are going well than are not, and so much more of your attention could be given to the things that are going well. But it is our desire to assist you in discovering the freedom. In fact, it's freedom that comes only from this one thing that you come to understand. The freedom of feeling the way you choose to feel regardless of the conditions that are possible for you to observe. You have the ability to become better selective sifters. You have the ability to focus more deliberately based upon how you care to feel rather than upon your desire to be equal in giving your attention to the pros and the cons and the pluses and the minuses. In other words, as you are willing to let go just a little bit at this stage of your magnificent development of objectivity, and instead you trust that your objectivity has really served its purpose, and that through that sifting and sorting, you have created a magnificent vibrational reality that stands ready and ripe for you to pluck it from the tree. It is ready for you to allow it to become things and relationships and financial remuneration. Your vortex is ready for you to be ready for it. The question that this seminar wants to ask of you, the question that this seminar and those like us who come to greet you here want you to be aware of at all times is, are you ready for what you have already created? Because it is magnificent what you've created, and it's time for you to let it manifest into full fruition. And if it's slow to do that, it only means that you're focused more upon, that you are more aware of the absence of this thing that you want than you are of the presence of this thing you want. And that's easy to understand because you've been using your physical senses to determine whether it's absent or present. So then along we come telling you that there's a presence of something that you can't see. And you think, yep, that's a pretty crazy thing for someone to be saying. I can't see it, so how can I trust it? How do I know that it is there? And we say, you must develop your sense or your awareness through your emotional guidance system. It's what faith is. It's belief in something before it is manifest. And unless you have found a way to believe in something before it's manifested, it cannot be manifested because your doubt about it will not let you be the receiver of it. It is just that simple. So some of you say, well, no problem. I'll just watch and see what others have received. And if I see them receive it, then maybe I will believe that I can too. And that works to a certain extent, because the more of you who allow yourself to live the way you want to live, the more it makes it easier for others to trust that it could happen to them too. But you're pretty sneaky about that, because you almost always can find a way to argue for your own personal limitations. And as you do argue for your own limitations, well, that happened to them because, and it didn't happen to me because, you continue to foster a vibration that will not allow you to be the translator or the receiver of this vibration into its physical equivalency. We want to say to you that it's time for you to allow what you have put into your vortex, and it is a wonderful sight to behold, into your physical reality. It's time for you to put your emphasis upon getting into what we are calling the receiving mode, which means lining yourself up with who you really are. In simple terms, it means being happier more of the time. It means not worrying about things, especially the things that you can't do anything about, which is all of them. It means caring about how you feel more than anything else. It means caring so much about how you feel that you are willing to give your attention to things that feel good. It means putting yourself into a meditative state once a day for 15 or 20 minutes, where you can deliberately quiet your mind by focusing on unfocused things, by listening to the dripping of a faucet or watching the flickering of a flame, or even paying attention to the rhythm of your own breathing. By focusing upon things not very active in thought until you bring your thought to a less and less active condition. And in that less active condition, it is our promise to you that your vibrational frequency will naturally be allowed to be called to the high frequency of your source. That is the benefit of meditation. You allow yourself to sync up with who you really are. It allows you to sync up with who you really are, and it also makes you extra sensitive to those moments in time when you're not syncing up. In other words, you spend a little bit of time, maybe 30 days, meditating every day for 15 or 20 minutes. And you will be a more sensitive being, which means you will be more aware when you, because only you can do it, are introducing more resistance into your physical embodiment. You're more sensitive to what you are doing with your thoughts in relationship to the thoughts of your inner being. And as you care about that, not only, but mostly, as you care about your alignment with who you really are, then what begins to happen is the things that you've been asking for as you've been sifting through life and putting them into this vibrational reality. It's such a reality that we've named it the vortex. Wrote a whole book about that too, wanting you to understand that you are creating things and experiences that you aren't even aware that you've created, because sometimes you've created them, but you block your receipt of them by your attention to the fact that they have not yet come about. That's like saying, I'm going on vacation, and then complaining every step of the way that you're not yet there. I'm not there. I'm not there. And yet with something like that, you are wise enough to know that there will be some journey on your way to your journey, on your way to your journey, on your way to your journey. And it's always this way. You're always on a journey, on your way to a journey, on your way to a journey, on your way to a journey. But in every part of your on your wayness to wherever it is you are going, you have the ability for thoughts to be turning to things. And that's what we wish for you. It is our desire that you become more consciously aware every step of your journey of the perfection of who you are and where you are. It is our desire that you will be more sensitive to your own guidance system and more decided to be aware of your guidance system, and more thrilled when you are aware of your guidance system, so that you are utilizing it in the way you intended when you decided to come here to begin with.